Ridley Scott's Alien sequels have developed a reputation for being films that divide Alien universe fans like nothing else ever has. Few consider these movies to be gems, while there are others who consider them an absolute waste of time and effort. Everybody has their own opinion about Prometheus and Covenant, and we'd love to hear yours down in the comments down below, but say what you will, you cannot deny that the creatures featured in the movies, you know, the likes of Hammerpedes, the Trilobite, and the Deacon, are actually pretty fascinating movie monsters. Their exceptional physiology and anatomy may turn out to be outlandish, but it's fascinating to say the least. So in this video, we'll continue our streak of anatomy videos and explore the mind-flustering anatomy of the Trilobite, a creature that originated from a mutagenic black liquid and became a giant that took down one of the biggest, most powerful, and most intelligent creatures in the Alien universe. Let's begin, shall we? Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Number 1. How do Trilobites evolve from a black goo to a large tentacle creature? Much like David said in the film, big things have small beginnings. The Trilobite actually evolves from nothing but a drop of black goo to create a large tentacle creature that takes down a 9-foot-tall engineer. Although named after and inspired by the prehistoric Trilobites, Ridley Scott's version of the Trilobite bears little resemblance to its namesake, at least as far as its anatomy is concerned. In the film, the archaeologists Charlie Holloway and Elizabeth Shaw discover ancient intergalactic maps that resemble extinct human cultures. This discovery leads to an expedition to the moon LV-223 on the spaceship Prometheus. And, of course, the expedition was organized and funded by Peter Weyland, the CEO of Weyland Corp. Upon arrival, the team explores a massive artificial structure where they encounter various peculiar objects, including steatite ampules containing a highly unstable black liquid. One of the crew members, the synthetic David, secretly infects Holloway with the black liquid, who unknowingly passes it on to Shaw through sexual intercourse. Shaw later discovers that she is pregnant and experiences severe abdominal pain. Using a med pod, she performs a C-section on herself and removes the creature, which initially resembles a small squid. Shaw seals the creature in the med pod, believing it to be dead or unconscious. However, the Trilobite undergoes rapid growth inside the med pod, much like the rapid growth of a xenomorph chestburster, and emerges as a massive squid-like organism. Shaw eventually releases the creature to defend herself against an engineer, a humanoid alien. The Trilobite, now grown in size and strength, overpowers the engineer and impregnates it. After impregnation, the Trilobite dies, similar to the life cycle of a facehugger. And from the engineer comes the Deacon, another horrific monstrosity. Once impregnation is complete, both the Trilobite and the host fall unconscious, possibly due to exhaustion. Number 2. The Trilobite is a large octopus-like alien creature. But just how large can it get? So the Trilobite managed to subdue the humongous engineer and appeared taller than the 9-foot-tall beast. But if we also consider its long appendages, the Trilobite would measure anywhere between 16 and 20 feet. It's necessary for the Trilobite to ultimately grow to such a size because of the mode of impregnation it assumes. If it wasn't that gargantuan, it would fail to physically subdue its victims. But I have another concern about its size. Now, Shaw sought the help of the Trilobite to save herself, and it attacked and impregnated the engineer. But do you think the Trilobite would have continued to grow in size if it was left alone in the med pod? Or was what we saw in the film the final size of the creature? I'm leaving the door open for discussion and a well-informed debate in the comments section down below. Number 3. What does a Trilobite look like? Initially, as an infant, the Trilobite resembles a large four-armed squid, displaying an aggressive nature. Notably, it undergoes a rapid growth process, reaching an enormous size without the need to consume additional biomass. Despite Shaw's attempts to eliminate the infant Trilobite by contaminating the med pod, it is merely rendered unconscious and eventually grows to a colossal scale, so I'm assuming you can't use bug spray to kill this creature. When the Trilobite is aboard Vickers' lifeboat, it is released released by Shaw on LV-223 to defend against an approaching murderous engineer. Using its formidable strength, the Trilobite subdues and impregnates the engineer with a deacon creature. As an adult, the Trilobite's appearance significantly deviates from its initial form, resembling an exceptionally large facehugger, surpassing even the size of the engineers. Its distinctive features include numerous powerful tentacles used to immobilize prey and 6 smaller tentacles that extend around its mouth. Unlike traditional facehuggers, the Trilobite does not leap onto a victim's face, but instead uses its tentacles to restrain and subdue the target, aiming to impregnate it. Upon successful subjugation, the Trilobite settles its considerable body mass on top of the host, positioning its large-toothed mouth over the host's body. Within the Trilobite's mouth resides an ovipositor tube which does the final task of impregnation. The creature also possesses holes at its rear, potentially used for breathing or redirecting air towards its host. During the impregnation process, the host experiences a loss of strength and subsequently falls unconscious, resembling the efforts observed in facehugger victims. Despite sharing its name with the prehistoric Trilobite, the fictional Trilobite in the Alien franchise lacks a trilobed body and bears no significant resemblance to its ancient counterpart. Instead, it features a segmented body structure comprised of 3 sections, which are the cephalon, or the head, the thorax, or the midsection, and the pygidium forms the tail. This segmented arrangement offers the creature flexibility and enhanced agility and maneuverability, crucial for survival in diverse and challenging environments. Number 4. How are Trilobites different from normal facehuggers? I suppose the first and foremost difference that one could think of has to be the way these two creatures are born. While a Trilobite comes into the world from a host, a facehugger, on the other hand, is born out of an ovomorph or a xenomorph egg. So it seems that any human can give birth to a Trilobite, and it doesn't necessarily require a queen. It is widely believed that Elizabeth Shaw became pregnant with the Trilobite after sexual intercourse with Charlie, but the important thing to note is that she was sterile in the movie, so I assume that the black liquid went through some transformation within Charlie, and upon its passage into Elizabeth, the transformed black liquid acted like a mutagen and not really a reproductive liquid like semen. As opposed to the massive Trilobite, facehuggers immobilize their hosts by wrapping their long legs around the victim's head and face, effectively restraining them. Furthermore, if we're talking about habitats, Trilobites are known to survive on LV-223, but we don't know how exactly they would survive on other planets or environments. On the other hand, facehuggers are known to survive in just about any environment. I've already spoken about the differences in appearance and size of these two creatures, so there's little cause to go through it again, but yeah, a Trilobite is far larger and stronger than a facehugger, which also makes a Trilobite less agile and swift. Now, that also changes the way these two creatures subdue their victims. So yeah, while a facehugger doesn't necessarily grow in size after coming out of an ovomorph, a Trilobite grows larger. But the question that remains is, how exactly does it grow without eating anything? Number 5. The Trilobite's unusual size and resource acquisition. The Trilobite in Prometheus exhibits an abnormally accelerated growth rate during and after its gestation period, which is beyond the biological conventions observed in earthly creatures. But we have to remember that we're talking about a creature that was born of a mutagenic liquid that was fed to a poor scientist who then transferred it to his woman under the sheets. So the outlandish growth of a Trilobite makes sense because the creature itself is outlandish. Being an alien life form, it operates outside the norms of typical organism development and growth. The Trilobite's strange simplicity in physiology may allow for rapid cell division, enabling its cells to replicate quickly and facilitate its growth and size. One could assume that it was energy heavy when it was born and invested all of it into growing to the gargantuan size it became in an extremely short duration of time. This accelerated cell division requires a significant amount of energy, and organisms typically die of natural causes when the rate of cell division ceases or when it becomes zero. Therefore, an organism with an accelerated rate of cell division would be expected to have a relatively short lifespan. This is precisely the reason why our pets mature into adults much faster than us and have a lifespan much shorter than us. Creatures such as tortoises have a much slower rate of cell division and therefore live longer. In the case of xenomorphs, a substantial portion of their energy is allocated to rapid aging and development. Similarly, the Trilobite likely begins its life with a substantial reserve of stored energy, which is expended entirely during its enhanced rate of development. But you know what? It's not as alien as it may sound. Let me tell you about the growth of rhubarb plants in the Rhubarb Triangle, an area between Wakefield Leeds and Bradford. These plants are cultivated in dark sheds and supplied with nutrients for a couple of years, during which their growth is minimal. However, once light is introduced, the rhubarb plants experience exponential growth, often accompanied by audible sounds of expansion, so you can literally hear the plant growing. Additionally, it's theorized that xenomorphs consume the same food as their hosts, but can also sustain themselves using various inorganic materials. And that makes sense because of their biometallic nature. Considering this, and assuming that the Trilobite and Deacon are progenitors of the xenomorphs, it is plausible to speculate that the Trilobite could have survived on the machinery present within the medpod. Number 6. How and why do trilobites die the way they die? It's abundantly clear that a trilobite, much like a facehugger, dies after it has fulfilled its life's purpose, that is, impregnating a victim. But what really causes their death? What happens to it after it's impregnated someone? The simple answer is exhaustion. You see, even when humans finish intercourse, they feel exhausted. It stems from a flood of chemicals and hormones in our brain, in addition to the sheer exhaustion of the physical act, and that's not even our life's ultimate purpose. But when a trilobite or a facehugger impregnates a host, they are done with achieving their life's ultimate goal. All their saved up energy gets exhausted in carrying out that function, and they succumb to the lack of energy. Their internal organs stop functioning, and they perish. But then again, this isn't just one man's opinion, and the question is up for debate. If you have a different perspective, I'd love to read it in the comments down below, and I would maybe include you in the next video on a related topic. As a bonus, I would also give you a shout out if I'm discussing the theory that you proposed. That's it for this video, but thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, be safe out there, and thanks for watching.